But first tonight, a bushfire that has destroyed more than a dozen homes to the east of Queanbeyan near Canberra in New South Wales has been downgraded to a watch and act. Fire authorities say weather conditions are starting to ease, but the blaze remains out of control. Reporter Tom Lowry joins me now from Queanbeyan. Tom, at headquarters there, it looks like there's still a fair bit of action. What's the latest?
David, as you mentioned, this fire has been downgraded to a watch and act, which is certainly good news. Conditions are starting to ease out there on the fire ground. In particular, those really dangerous winds we were seeing earlier this afternoon have eased off. A little bit of rain came through at one point. Certainly, the RFS is confident that it can start to get on top of this fire. As you might be able to see behind me, there's still plenty of work going on to try and coordinate the effort to contain it, but they think they're getting the upper hand at this stage. I can tell you firsthand, at its peak at around 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon, the fire really was ferocious. As the winds would change, the fire would change with it. It was the definition of a fast-moving grass fire that could sort of change direction at any time. It was hot and the ground was dry, the leaves, the grass itself was dry, and the fire just tore through it. It's burned through around about 2,500 hectares at this stage, and we think around about 15 homes have been lost, but RFS crews will get out there on the fire ground tomorrow morning to take a closer look and try and confirm just how much damage this fire's done.
And as you mentioned, you saw it up close earlier this afternoon. You also had a chance to speak to some of those who've been worst affected.
Yeah, we went for a drive back down Captain's Flat Road this afternoon, which was really sort of the epicentre of the fire. And as is often the case with these sorts of fires, it almost seemed like luck came into play, because you were seeing homes that looked to have been pretty much destroyed and homes that are still standing but ringed by black scorched earth. We had a chat to a few of the homeowners who were lucky enough to have their homes saved. They described sort of running around with hoses, joining with fire crews, trying to sort of hold the fire at bay, and thankfully for the people we spoke to, they were successful. They managed to save their home, the people inside, even the dogs and the chickens, but certainly others weren't so lucky, and we'll be out there tomorrow, as will RFS crews, trying to assess the extent of the damage to see what's been lost and see what's still standing.
Tom Lowry in Queanbeyan, thanks so much for keeping us up to date. Well,